everyone. It's been a long time. I am so excited to welcome you back to the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast today. I'm Lisa, and I'm coming to you from Long Island, New York. In today's podcast, I will be sharing with you what I am wearing, which is my latest finished object. I will be sharing my newest cast-ons. I've got a cardigan in progress. I have a super special secret test knit that I have dyed my own yarn for. It's a test knit for Caitlin Hunter. And I just have a couple other little projects. I've got a little spinning project that, well, kind of a big spinning project, but a spinning project that I'll talk to you guys about later on in the episode, as well as a small little acquisition that came in. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun episode today, and let's just get started. Without a doubt, the most exciting update I have for you guys today, at least as far as I'm concerned, the thing that I am most excited to share with you is what I am wearing today, and that is my stripes sweater. You guys, it's done. It is finished. I absolutely freaking love how this turned out. Let me tell you all about it. It's been so long, I think, since I've even shared an update on this one. So we're just gonna go back. I'm gonna tell you what I did from the beginning, because this is a sweater that I dyed my own yarn for. I used all kinds of different mushrooms. I used some bark. I used some walnuts. So there are things to talk about. Okay, so I think I cast this sweater on a year and a half ago, maybe. I think I cast it on this past fall, but the fall before that. So I want to say maybe fall of 2023, like late fall. Otherwise, it was early in 2024, but at least a year ago, over a year ago, maybe even longer than that. I don't even know. But I been using this cute little project bag that is from Hohi & Co. I like to match my project bags. I actually don't have that many project bags, but lately I've been getting project bags and they've been matching my projects, which you guys know that's the best. This is absolutely not at all necessary. Half of the time my projects are like not quite in a grocery bag, but like a Ziploc bag or just like something not super cute. But this is super cute. I don't actually have any pins to put on it, but she's got like the perforated holes so that you can like put your enamel pins on. I need some enamel pins, you guys. Anyway, I did a swatch for this one long ago because I wanted to test like the order that my colors were going to be in. So my messy little swatch there. But yeah, I'm gonna go through all of the colors, I guess in order of how they appear in my sweater. So the yarn that I dyed this on is 100% baby alpaca sport weight. I carry this base in my shop. Right now I have several mini skein kits. So I don't have like full sweater quantities of this right now, though I think I have enough leftovers for somebody my size or smaller, perhaps, to make one of these. So I'm contemplating putting my leftovers up in the shop. So if any of you guys are interested in that, just let me know and I'll get on that sooner rather than later. But I do have like a mini skein set that is not these exact colors, but quite similar and really, really beautiful. So the darker brown, so I had, so there were two shades of brown that I used in this. We're gonna start with the darker one. This darker brown I used for the ribbing on all of the ribbing. So I started the cast on with the ribbing of the sweater. This is black walnut. is what this one is dyed with. And so I have quite a bit of this one left because I only used it for the ribbing. Next up, what color's next? The purple is a really exciting one. Let's see how much of that I have left. I have a good amount, definitely enough for some stripes. This is so beautiful. You guys, can you believe that this purple came from a mushroom? So there is a mushroom that grows out of leaf litter and it looks like sea coral. I'll insert some pictures because like my fingers here don't look like sea coral, but you know, it's like, it just looks like sea coral, and you have to process the mushrooms a certain way. You have to use yarn that you pre-mordant with iron rather than aluminum sulfate, which is what most of our things are mordanted with first. To get this color though, it has to be on a yarn that has been pre-mordanted with iron, as well as raising the pH level up a bit to like a 9 or a 10, I think. It's been a while since I dyed this, so it's one of those things where I always have to kind of remember the process as I'm doing it. Yeah, this came out so beautiful. And I loved how the brown and purple looked together. Brown and purple is one of my favorite combinations, so I knew that I wanted those colors together. Okay, this glorious gold. So good. I hope I can find this mushroom again. It is ridiculous because this yarn, look how beautiful this is. This yarn was dyed with Phallus schwenitzi. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't remember how. But basically, its common name is Dyer's polypore. This mushroom is like one of the most common, one of the easiest to find. I don't know. In my region here on Long Island, I have found it one time. One time. And so I had to use it in a project for myself. I do have a couple of kits in my shop that uses some of this mushroom as well. So I did share a little bit. But I found it once on Halloween, 2 Halloweens ago, and I have never found it again. So I'm looking, but some people, that's like all they can find, and for me, it's very, very elusive, sadly. So yeah, if you guys find a Dyer's polypore mushroom, you can get glorious goldens, you can get oranges, you can get deep browns, depending on what stage the mushroom is in, in terms of its age. And you can also use then iron to modify the yellows and golds to like a really deep olivey green. This mushroom is great and it gives out so much color. But yeah, this is just this glorious golden shade. So I'm so excited. I meant for this fall, let's rewind that. I meant for this to be a fall sweater, but it also really works for the spring because of how like light and pale and everything the colors are. And then this gold, it's like, it can either be fall, autumny, or it can be like spring sunshine. So I just love it. Okay, next well, I'm gonna skip one. I'm gonna go, let's do these two. So I'm gonna skip the beigey one because these other two were the same mushroom, just with different pH levels. I think it's been so long since I've done it. These 2 yarns, so I got like this really beautiful kind of icy green and a lighter shade of brown. So you can see the 2 browns together. This is the walnut on the right. And so these 2 came from a mushroom called Thelephora terrestris, something like that. I can identify them. I can't necessarily pronounce them. It'll be up on the screen. I'll put pictures so you guys can see like what they actually look like too. And again, I think that this one was one of those that you pre-mordant with iron to get the green. I'm gonna have to review my notes about that, but I think it's an iron pre-mordant and then a pH raise. It's definitely a pH raise, but it's not necessarily an iron mordant. I've got to review my notes on that. Anyway, this one, the green, you can get by raising the pH, and then the brown you can get by lowering the pH. So I was able to get 2 colors from one dye bath. So that was exciting. Okay, and then finally, the last color, this, like, it's not brown, it's not orange, it's kind of peachy. Orange is peachy, beige-ish, but more peachy, is sassafras bark. So this was, yeah, from the sassafras tree. You can dye with the leaves, you can dye with the roots, I think, but you can also dye with the bark. And so this one was done with sassafras bark. So that's the lowdown on all of the things I used to dye the colors for this. There is always something that is so exciting about completing a project and having a finished garment. But when you've actually gone the extra step and dyed the yarn, but also gone the extra step and spent time out in nature to find all of these things that are just growing in the ground or coming off of trees or falling off of trees, and then you extract color from nature, from natural sources, there's something just absolutely completely satisfying about doing that. So, you know, this is a very special project for me. I wanted to make it as a sample for my shop, just so that if I don't do in-person things, but, you know, so that people could feel it and see how the yarn knits up. It is 100% baby alpaca. I know that alpaca is a very drapey yarn, but I think because of just using this in stripes, it doesn't have, I don't think it's going to grow this way. And even if it does, that's okay. But I did the, so I did the full length version, which was about like 13 inches or more under the sleeve. I also ultimately opted to do the long sleeves on this. I just figured I would get more use out of it in this in-between weather, especially in the autumn. It's just so beautiful. Just how these colors play together. They're just so soft and happy and bright and cheery, and I just absolutely love this sweater. Mine, I'm pretty sure that I knit mine, I think I knit mine in a size 3. If it wasn't size 3, it was size 4. I've been kind of leaning more towards size 4 than size 3 lately because I've been putting on a bit of weight, and so I want to make sure that my garments are roomy enough that I can wear them for upcoming time, because sadly I'm starting to outgrow a lot of my older knits. So yeah, I want to make sure that nowadays when I finish projects, as my body continues to change, that I am going to be able to enjoy them for a couple of years at least. So that's my striped sweater. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. I mean, really, if you guys don't love it, it doesn't matter because I love it. Anyway, so I do have a good amount of leftovers. I'm sure that somebody out there who is a little bit smaller than I am could have enough yarn to knit a sweater. So, you know, send me a message if you're interested and we can talk about that. Oh, one more thing that I wanted to talk about this sweater. Be prepared to weave in a gazillion million ends. My sweater was probably really close to being finished about 6 months ago, and there were so many ends to weave in with this one that I set it aside for like many months. And yeah, so I only finally got the ends woven in recently. I probably could have been wearing this past fall, this past winter, but too many ends to weave in. It was worth it though, because I mean, it's so good. I love it so much. So definitely, did I say that this is Andrea Mowry's striped sweater, or did I just say it's a striped sweater? Guys, it's Stripes by Andrea Mowry. If you haven't knit it already, go knit it. It's a fun pattern, just until you get to all those ends. So maybe do a few stripes, knitting your ends before you continue. Oh, and I also did what she recommends with jogging. So where you like skip a stitch and then lift it up, and not being a very good podcaster today. Andrea gives very clear instructions in her pattern about how to do the jogless stripes. It is so easy, and I highly recommend it. So, okay, let's go on to the next thing. Whew. Okay, I'm actually gonna film my segments a little bit out of order because I've got to leave in 15 minutes. And so when I come back later, I'm not gonna have any natural light. And so I wanted to show you guys this in the natural light. So we're gonna do casting on first today, and then we'll get into all of my whips and all the other stuff after this segment. I don't need to hold all of these, so we're gonna set them down, and then I'll just pick 2. Okay, so I have a really exciting cast on that hopefully I'm gonna get started on finally this evening. I've actually gotten started on it already because I did dye my own yarn for it. So it has been 2 years, I think, since I have done a test knit for anybody. And I saw Caitlin Hunter sent one. Caitlin Hunter now, if you are subscribed to her newsletter, she will also announce her test knit calls for test knitters through her newsletter. And so this one I happened to fall in love with. And so I said, why not? Let's sign up for a test knit. So I can't tell you much about it, but it is a cardigan, and it is knit from 2 fingering weight yarns, or it doesn't have to be 2 different yarns. You can use whatever as long as you meet gauge. So I'm pretty sure that there are several test knitters using just 1 yarn, because obviously when you hold the mohair with the fingering weight, you're using double yardage. But it just so happened that I had a couple of new bases that I hadn't dyed up yet at all. And I bought these new bases a while ago. I hadn't gotten around to dyeing them, and I thought what a great opportunity this would be to practice dyeing on them, knitting them up to see what the fabric looks like, and at the same time I'm doing a test knit for Caitlin Hunter. So I'm gonna have a finished garment that can serve as a shop sample and test out 2 new bases that I hope to, bring to the shop pretty regularly, but are not in my shop yet. So let me tell you about them. This one is a fingering weight. I can actually, let me go get the bases. Hang on. Okay, so here's the bases. This one is a fingering weight yarn, and it is composed of 80% fine merino wool and 20% kid mohair. It is a 4-ply fingering weight sock weight yarn, and there are 437 yards in this. And then this one is the first time I have ever used any kind of kid silk mohair yarn. This one is composed of 70% super kid mohair and 30% mulberry silk. And this one is also 437 yards, and it is only 50 grams as opposed to 100 grams. So I had a total of 4 skeins of each. I needed approximately 1,500 yards for my size. So that meant just 4 skeins of each, 300 grams of yarn, and I decided to use dandelions because I hear that butter yellow is like the on-trend color, at least all of the young podcasters, according to them. Butter yellow is like the very in color on trend right now. So it's like, I'm a natural dyer. That is great news for me because do you know how many plants give yellow? And so I knew I could get a beautiful buttery yellow out of dandelions. And so I spent last week dyeing with the dandelions. Whoops, I am dropping it. Dyeing with the dandelions that I had collected over the past like week and a half before that. I just stored them in the freezer. I used a total of 2,100 dandelions. And what I did was I separated the yarn into 2 different dye baths. I actually posted a really fun reel on how to make butter on my TikTok and my Instagram, if you guys want to check those out. But I put 2 skeins of the fingering weight and 2 skeins of the mohair in each dye bath with 1,000 dandelions, so that each dye bath had like identical contents. So rather than like doing 4 skeins of this one and 4 skeins of this one in a separate dye bath, because this one 4 skeins would be 400 grams total, and 4 skeins of this one would only be 200 grams total. And so I didn't want there to be an imbalance between the saturation of dye between the yarn. So I did 300 grams each, so I had 2 of each with 1,000 dandelions, so 300 grams total in one dye bath, and the same in the other dye bath. So, and I think that, you know, all of these they came out exactly as I imagined. So I am now at the point where I can do my swatch and figure out what needle size I'm going to use for this cardigan. And I'm going to get that going tonight. And yeah, I'm probably, by the time I podcast again, it'll be finished and I'll be able to wear it and share it with you guys openly. But no spoiler alerts here. It is a spring cardigan. It's got like a collar on it. It is so good. It's so good. And so we're going to do the trendy butter yellow for that, because I had all the supplies. I had dandelions. I had yarn in the bases that I needed. And so why not be on trend? So yeah, those of you that don't know, natural dyes, almost every single plant gives yellow. Not necessarily the same shade of yellow, but pretty close. So you can pretty much just take anything from outside, dump it into your dye bath, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get some kind of yellow. So butter yellow is a very easy color to get. And yeah, so I'm excited to try out these 2 bases and see how they look knit up. You guys can follow my progress on Instagram and maybe TikTok a little bit too. And I'll just show some in progress updates there. And yeah, I'm super excited for this project. Okay, I don't think I have time to share anymore right now, so I will come back to you guys later after I'm done teaching. I have another very exciting cast on to talk with you all about, and it is in this amazing bag. This is a bag that was a collaboration between Hohi Locatelli and the Spin Cycle Girls. And yeah, I was lucky to get my hands on this beautiful pink one. It was a treat myself for Christmas gift, and of course I had to match my project to the bag. Okay, so what is hiding in here? Oh my goodness. I am so excited about this one because we are going to be doing something that has never before been done here on the Stop, Drop, and Knit podcast. And that is, it's the S word. Steeking. I'm going to have to steek this one, not just in one place. I'm going to have to do 3 steeks. Okay, so I'm just untangling here because it's been folded in my bag. What is it that I am knitting? Look at this. This is my very first knit designed by Johanna. She's a Finnish designer, and she is the author of the Strands of Joy books. And when volume 2 came out and I saw this sweater, I knew immediately that I needed to cast it on. So I actually had purchased the yarn for this sweater over a year ago, about a year ago. Whenever this book came out, I ordered the book and the yarn for this cardigan together. And I meant to cast it on last year, but you know how life goes. And so I cast it on this year. So I'm so excited. I just want to make sure I get the name of this correct. I think that's the Garden Lupin. Garden Lupin? Lupin? Lupine? It's this pattern right here. Garden Lupin? I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, it's this really fun little cardigan. So I decided to I loved the colors so much, and I just wanted to make exactly what I saw in the book. Also, this is my first time knitting with tuku wool. So let me show you the 2 colors. I think it's just called Hot Pink. It's a very hot pink. And let me get one that's got more yarn on it than this. Hang on. That's a pretty good match for my bag there. And this one, I think is called Mana. So these are the two colorways. And this is a really nice yarn. Yeah, so the tuku wool is a fingering weight. It's 100% Finnish wool, and there's 370 meters per 100 grams. So yeah, it's color number 39, Mana, and then it's color Hot Pink. I don't know what the number of that was. So I purchased all of these from the Woolly Thistle, and I mean, it was over a year ago, but I finally got it cast on, and it is so much fun. Look at those cute little baubles. This is a really, really fun and pretty quick knit. So I am almost done with the body. Stand up here. Yeah, so I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, a total of 6 of these Lupin flower colorwork patterns. And then after the 6th one, instead of doing these rows here of stockinette, it just goes straight into the bottom ribbing of the hem. So let me show you where the steeks are. So the steeks, I've got 2 armhole steeks that I'm gonna have to do. So I'm gonna have to cut my knitting from like the armhole like up to the top over here somewhere. And I'm gonna have to do that on both sides before I can start on the sleeves. And so I think the armholes are the first steeks that you do so that you can do the sleeves, and then I'll do the big center cut later. But since this is breaking into new ground, new territory for me on this podcast, I have been knitting for, I think, 21 or 22 years, something like that, more than 20 years. And steeking is something that has been on my bucket list of techniques to try since I got really serious about knitting about 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. But I still haven't done it. So this is my maiden voyage into steeking. So you can bet that I will be doing that on camera, because that's just what you do when you have a podcast and you're steeking for the first time, is you film it and show it to the whole world. So that will be happening here. Yeah, I love it. I love how the tuku wool is knitting up. The color work is so even. I haven't looked at my floats. I guess we could look at my floats. So here's the floats, on the float side of things. And then there's the floats where the front steek is on that side. Oh, and then I should show you too. I got some, hold on, let me flip this inside out. So I stopped into one of the local, it's more local to me now that I teach out there, but maybe a couple of weeks before Easter, sometime in April, I swung into a yarn shop. I think it's just called Knit, and it's in Roslyn on Long Island. And I picked up these cute little, I needed some needles actually to work on this cardigan. I didn't have enough size 4s and size 5s with the long size cables. So I picked up needles so that I could do this project. And I also picked up these really cute chick in Easter egg stitch stoppers. It was right before Easter, so those seemed like the perfect little thing to get. And they just look so cute on there. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. I think now, though, that I have a test knit for Caitlin Hunter that has a deadline of the end of June. It's now the end of May, so I've only got 1 month, maybe 5 weeks to work on that cardigan. So I think this one is going to need to be set aside. In the meantime, I might try to finish the body at least when if I get, like, I don't know, if I get, I don't want to say bored, but I like to mix things up. Why I have so many whips going at one time is I like to, depending on what mood I'm in, like to be able to knit on different things. So maybe if I'm in a color work mood, I will work on this every once in a while, but my main focus is going to be on this test knit for the next several weeks until that is done. But then I'll be picking this one up again. So I just thought that these were really pretty colors for the springtime. So I might not really be wearing it this year, but it's just another thing that I just wanted to get ready for next year. And I'm also knitting this in, I think, the 4th size, which is a size up from what I usually do, because I'm trying to make sure that I'm going to be fitting in the things I'm knitting and be happy and comfortable in them. So I'm pretty sure it's size number 4, whatever that is, medium 1 maybe, I can't remember. So yeah, so this is the Garden Lupin cardigan, and I've gotten a good amount done on it. This one has been a pretty monogamous project. It's the only thing I've been working on while I have been home. And then I have one other whip, which I have been working on when I am not home, and that is a sock. So let me go grab that one. So my sock whip, I actually purchased the yarn for this just like the week before lockdown. March of 2020, I was on a flute field trip. I was presenting at a festival down in Alabama, and so I went on to little yarn shops that I was able to find. And I was really interested in picking up some of the Urth sock yarn sets. It comes with 2 identical balls of yarn that are wound up together. There's many different colorways. I don't have the box on me, so I don't know which colorway this was. But These are like very long, like almost to the knee socks. So I've never knit socks this long before, but this is, I'm gonna try to kind of show you what it's looking like. I'm gonna kind of spread it the other way here from how I'm knitting it. So this is like the amount that I have done so far. It's like a really fun color changing yarn. These are maybe my second ever pair of toe up socks, or maybe my first pair. I can't remember if my 2 at a time socks that I did that one time, I can't remember if those were cuff down or toe up, but I do not love toe up socks. So let me tell you what happened. I had actually cast on this pair of socks a year ago, and the way that it said in the pattern, let's see, the pattern that I'm using for this, it comes like recommended from Urth. It says that it was, I don't know who the designer is. It says it was designed for Urth yarns, and it's called the Mahalle Toe Up sock. And so I wanted to make sure that I used a pattern that was designed for these socks in particular, so that I would be able to use up every bit of the yarn. And so that's why I'm doing the toe up pattern. So I'm almost there. I've got only this much left, and I'm gonna have to figure out when to stop to do the cuff ribbing. I'm not exactly clear on that part, but I guess when I feel like I'm almost out of it, I'll just switch. I don't know. I don't think it really tells you when to do that. Maybe when I have like a certain amount of inches or something, but everybody's foot length is different, so I'm not sure. But the colors are pretty fun. They're super bright and cheery. And so this has just been the project that I take with me if I have a gig, or if I'm just going to be out of the house for a while and maybe sitting around waiting to pick Owen up from his theater rehearsals, so that I have something with me that I can knit on that's, you know, just going around in circles, don't have to think about it kind of thing. So there is no timeline to getting this one done. Oh yeah, but I was going to tell you what happened. So it's a toe up pattern, and the pattern has you increase to 64 stitches. Well, that ended up being really huge on my feet, and I should have known better. So I had to rip back and restart the sock. And so I ripped back, and then I made sure that I ripped back to the point where I was only going to have 60 stitches. Or maybe I even did 56. I can't remember. I mean, I could count right now and tell you, but it's like between 56 and 60 stitches, because I have very, very narrow feet. So I don't know. I shouldn't have trusted the pattern. I should have just gone with my gut, knowing that 64 was going to be too wide for my feet. But other than that, it's been really smooth sailing. I just had to take it out and redo it. So, you know, I'm not going to really show this one again until I finish the first sock, and then at some point I'll knit the second one. But I've had that sock project going on. And then there's one more whip that actually fits into the Knitworthy category, so we'll scoot on over into Knitworthy. And so for my Knitworthy segment, I have Waffles. This is Waffles the puppy. I have been working on him for a few months. I work on him quite sporadically. I go in these spurts where I'll get a lot of him done, and I'm in this other spurt where he's just sitting missing his tail. So that's the only thing I have to do. I've got this little stitch marker placed, and that's where his tail is gonna go. He's so close to being done. He is so cute. So Waffles the puppy is a project that I am knitting for my cousin's son. I think he's 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. He's under 5, I think. And they had lost their house back in January with the Palisades fires in California. And so their son lost all their stuffed animals. And even though they have been replaced, I decided that I wanted to knit him something very special. And so this is Waffles the puppy, and this is a kit that I purchased from Susan B. Anderson. And he's super cute. I actually purchased the Happy Bunny kit because she rotates what kits she has in stock at her shop, which is Barrett Wool Co. And the Happy Bunny uses the same type of yarn in the same quantities as this guy because they're about the same height. So I went ahead and I purchased that kit, and I just had to substitute the nose because obviously a bunny nose and a puppy nose are different. So this is the yarn. It's like her bulky weight, and it's like a marled, like a twist between a tan and a cream color. And then the puppy is also going to get a cardigan and a hat. And I chose this really lovely blue color to do the cardigan and the hat in. And so I think that those will look really, really sweet together on Waffles. And then on the cardigan, she gives you the option to add on and purchase these buttons, which are from Woolly Moss Roots. And I think that these are on Etsy. I think it's a company that's on Etsy, but these are really, really nice quality wooden buttons. And so those will go on the cardigan. And so I think, you know, I know about buttons and the safety eyes and all that. I think that he's at the age where he knows not to put things in his mouth. And I'm sure like his parents will be very diligent about that. They do have one other son who is a baby, so I'm sure they'll monitor that situation really closely. They can always not put the cardigan on. I mean, they live out west, so the puppy probably doesn't need to wear the cardigan and the hat until they come to visit family out east. So yeah, but he'll have them if he wants his puppy to be able to play dress up. So I think he'll be fine like this. I just need to get the tail knit on for the puppy part to be complete, and then the cardigan and the hat. So I'm close. It's in the works. He's so cute. So he's just kind of living up here on my shelf next to Mr. Moose. So he goes there. Okay, so that is all the knitting updates I have for you. And I have also a couple of spinning updates and a little small acquisition to share at the end. So in my last episode, I introduced you all to Penelope. Penelope is, let's see if I can bring her over here. Penelope is my spinning wheel, my first spinning wheel. So I'm super excited to share that I have finally spun some yarn on Penelope. Set her down right here. I left it over there. I have to go get it. So the very first thing I spun on Penelope was the January Paradise Fibers Fiber Club. And I have no idea what this is. The color is red chili pepper, but it is recycled fibers. That's all it says. Recycled wool, but I have no idea what kind of wool. They paired it with two other colors that are both Corriedale, but they didn't say anything about this one having Corriedale in it. So I honestly have no idea what this is, but I'm so proud of it. I have no idea how many yards it is. I used all of the red that they gave me, which I think it was 3 ounces altogether. It's really, really pretty red. It's so pretty. My spinning is not even. I am used to spinning on a drop spindle, and I enjoyed every second of this. It was funny because I had spun the first bobbin it took me like a few days as I was getting the hang of how to draft and how to get the spinning wheel to pick up the fiber, make sure it had enough twist and all of that stuff. It took me a while to do that. And I was gonna actually share a video of my first time spinning on Penelope, but I don't think I still have that footage. I had started editing the video and then somehow I think I lost it all. Unless it's in my memory card on my camera, but at this point I probably am not gonna put that video out. So I figure I better just share it with you here. Yeah, it's really nice though. I love the reds are showing up so nice on the camera, but it's definitely very thick and thin, overspun in certain places, and I'm sure underspun in others. But it's my first Penelope spun yarn, so I'm super proud of it. This has been done for over a month. It might have even been done when I recorded the last podcast, but I thought I was going to do a separate spinning video, so I didn't share it with you in that one. Or maybe I only had the first bobbin spun back then. I think it was done when I did my vlog. Anyway, it's done now. And I did not yet spin up the other two fibers. There was like a Corriedale that was orange and a Corriedale that was yellow. So I still have to spin those up. But yeah. I'm so proud of it. So thank you, Penelope. And now I have started spinning a totally new project on Penelope, and I should probably take the bobbin off of her so that I can actually show you. So hang on. There's one other thing I need to get to, so hang on. Okay, I'm back. This is totally different. So I have spun my first plant fiber that I foraged myself. This is Dogbane, and I foraged this from a location that is not far from where I live. I showed you guys in the last vlog. I don't record that many vlogs, but the last video I put out was a vlog, and I took you guys out to the fields where, one of the fields, I have two locations. One of the fields where I harvest the Dogbane from. So if you're interested in seeing what that looks like when it's actually in the wild, before this point where I forage it and cut off all of the stalk, like the little branch stemmy things, then check out that vlog. I'm also, I have a lot of footage of how I processed the Dogbane. Some of it is in that vlog, but I have like a whole in-depth other video in the works that just needs editing. Editing takes so long, you guys. So at some point I will edit that video and put out like a really in-depth video about Dogbane and working with it and how to process it and all of that. But I turned this, there are fibers inside of here, and I turned it into this finally. And this is pretty rough right now. This is more like twine, I would say. This is just a singles right now. I am going to spin up one other bobbin of this. Actually, hang on a sec. I can go, hang on a second. Let me get what it looks like in between this and this stage for you guys. So I'm gonna go put this one back. No, I'll just go get the other things. I'll show you. Sorry, I didn't plan this. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so first of all, I'll just give you a really, really quick like show and tell. So it starts out like this, but in the ground, and you have to like harvest it. Then you break it down into 4 different sections and you remove the inner pith. And then you get just the outer bark and the fibers, which I have right here. So this is what it looks like after I have removed like the woody pith from inside. It's like in these ribbon-like fibers. And so then I take it from this And then I turn it into all of this. I have so much that I've been working through and so much still to go. But I basically, let me just get one, kind of make these little bird's nest type things out of it. So after it's like this, then what needs to happen to get to all of those fibers is the outer bark needs to get separated from it. So I do a lot of rubbing and I get it to this point. And then that's all I can show you, because from this point there's still some outer bark on it, and then I have to run it through like carders or a comb or something to continue to like just get the outer bark off. So it's like a multiple stage process, but this is so much softer than this. And I think I have a picture that I took. If I have it, I will insert it here. And you can see what it looked like between this stage and this stage. So you could see like just the fiber bits I was working with. So I'm very excited about this project. This is my current rabbit hole. That last spring when I discovered the Dogbane plants growing and had no idea what they were, and looked it up and discovered that it's also known as Indian hemp, and obviously hemp you can make hemp fibers from. And so I did a deep dive and I researched when it was best to harvest the Dogbane, and I've just been harvesting and processing like for a year almost now, maybe 9 months, 10 months. And now I'm finally starting to spin some of it. And so look at that. Like I have made, let's see if I can find the end of it here. It still kind of all sticks to itself. I don't know where the end is. End, where are you? So I don't know. I have to find the end. It's kind of all stuck on itself. Oh, here it is. There we go. So let me stand up. See if you guys can see. If I hold it up like this, you can kind of see what that looks like. I don't know. It's going to focus maybe around my hands a bit more. Let's try this. Will that focus on that? Yeah, you can kind of see. That's like 2 layers of, there we go. And that is my twine so far. And so what I'm hoping to do with this is, I mean, a mixture of things. Obviously, I'd probably try knitting something with it. But I think what I really envision doing with this, I can also make cordage and stuff, and I don't have to spin it into a twine to be able to make cordage. I can basically take it from this stage and make pretty strong cordage or rope or something from it. But if I process it a bit more like this, and I'm going to make a 2-ply, and then I think what I want to do is try weaving with it. And I don't weave. I have just gotten a loom, a little Presto loom from Kromsky. It's still in the box. I haven't played with it yet. But what I envision is maybe making some kind of fabric from this that I can maybe blend with some of my naturally dyed wool in like a woven material that then I can maybe turn into like a little pouch or project notions bag or something. I don't know. That's kind of like my little dream plan right now, is somehow turning this and my yarn into some kind of notions bag or project bag. And yeah, so I just think it's so much fun. So this is totally my rabbit hole, and I can't wait to like get the other bobbin of this spun up and then do a 2-ply and see what it's like and how much yardage it provides and all of that stuff. I have a ton of Dogbane to work with. I know where to get more. There is no shortage. So yeah, I'm good for a while. So that is my super exciting spinning project. And I think the only thing left to share is I got a really fun acquisition in the mail actually today from Canada, and I'm excited about what I'm going to make with it. So I haven't shown acquisitions in a while, but I think I'm going to share that today. So let's go to acquisitions. All right. Acquisitions, last segment of the podcast. Okay, so the mail I received today was yarn from Canada, which, I mean, let's be real, tariffs, not fun, but this didn't have any tariffs on it, so that was good news. And I am going to show you this little sneak peek. This is for the June Summer Knitting Club with Gauge Dyeworks. And they did a collaboration, again, with the great Miss Andrea Wrangle. And those are raccoon feet and stripes. And on the toes of the socks are raccoon heads. And I'm not going to show you that because it's a charted pattern on this side. But I will insert a picture so that you can see what I'm making. I love raccoons, you guys. Oh my gosh, when we lived at my parents' house, my parents had all of these like outdoor cats. They had like indoor cats, but then there were outdoor cats that my mom would feed. And so naturally, at night, the raccoons got to know and rely on the nightly cat food that would be put out. And the whole raccoon family would come. We had Ralph and Ralphietta, and they had kids, and Ralph, I loved Ralph. I miss Ralph. I don't see the raccoons at this apartment, at this house here. Kind of miss the raccoons. But I love raccoons. Trash pandas, amazing. So when I saw this pattern, even though it was Canadian yarn, I was just like, I have to do it. I have to do it. And so when you order yarn from Canada, you can't just order one skein. You have to make sure you're getting free shipping. I mean, it's coming from Canada. So I will have inserted a picture, but they offered it in 3 different colorways. And this first one, which is the one that they advertise in the pattern, is called Forest Floor. And the other reason I really liked this yarn and the pattern between the raccoons and the stripes was that I don't have a lot of socks in neutral colors that are hand knit, and I want to add neutral colored hand knit socks to my stash. So there's that one, and then this one is called Midnight Pause, and this is like a black and white and gray. I don't know if there's black, but it's like a deep gray, like in the cool gray tones. So there's that one. And then, you guys know I couldn't pass this one up. This one is called Witching Hour. And they also did it in this purple colorway. So I have enough yarn to knit either 3 pairs of raccoon socks for myself, or to knit one for everybody in the family. Yeah, so I'm so excited about these. This yarn is so soft. I think it's just, yeah, it's 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. So, you know, like pretty standard sock yarn here. The way that Gauge Dyeworks does her yarn setup in the skeins is so brilliant. I can't even describe it. There is obviously a color work component to this sock. The way that, let me see, I'm going to unskein one of these. I think I'm going to do it in the purple one, just because you might be able to see it best in that. I don't know. Let's see what this looks like untwisted. Well, it's hard because I don't have these skeins up yet, but I think, especially if we look at this side, you can see that there's like a whole section there that is that darker color. And that darker color is what you're going to use for the color work parts. And they give you instructions on, I wonder, is it in the, not in the yarn label, but in the pattern is where they give you the instructions of which direction to wind the yarn from. So they'll tell you to make sure that either the center of the cake has the, like that darker yarn, or that it's on the outside of the cake. Whatever it is, they tell you exactly how to wind it up and which end of the yarn to pull from. And so basically, I think like for the color work, you've got that one darker side at one end, and then you'll be knitting it with the other end of the same ball of yarn. I think. I haven't done this yet, but that's how I think that this one will work, is that you'll kind of be having one strand be a center pull and then the other from the outside. And so you'll, for the color work sections, knit with both strands of the same ball at one time, I think. So I don't know that, I mean, let's be honest, I don't know that I'm gonna get these knit up in June, when I think that there's like a knit along and all of that, because I do have this test knit that I am committed to that's due at the end of June. So we'll see how that goes. If my test knit's going along really well, I mean, they're already a couple weeks, like 2 weeks into the test knit, and I'm only at the point where my yarn is dyed up right now and wound up and ready to cast on and for a swatch. So I'm a couple weeks behind, but I wasn't about to purchase yarn for that when I knew I had my own in stash and just needed to dye it and yada yada, all that stuff. Anyway, at some point, I'm going to be knitting raccoon socks, and I've got a raccoon sweater pattern and yarn for that I'm going to knit too. Totally not related, but I really like raccoons. They're not my favorite animal or anything like that, but I loved Ralph, and I really miss Ralph. So, on that note, let me know what you guys think about raccoons. If you guys have made it all the way to the end of this podcast, leave me like a little raccoon emoji in the comments so that I know you've stuck with me until the end. Thank you so much for joining me. I know my recording and my posting of videos is super sporadic and unpredictable. So if you do enjoy my content and want to make sure you don't miss anything I put out, then you can do that little notification bell thingamajig so that you get alerted when I post a video. Otherwise, I am most often on Instagram, and I have recently, so I'm at Lisa Westervelt Flute Studio on Instagram, but I've also recently started a separate account on Instagram for my shop, and that is at Stop, Drop, and Knit Fiber Co. So you can follow me at both of those accounts, or one or the other. I'm doing a lot of cross posting right now from my fiber, my yarn shop account over to my regular account because I don't have that many followers on my new account yet, and so I want to make sure people see my stuff when I post it. So you'll see my posts if you follow either of those accounts. I am also now on TikTok and have just a small handful of videos, and on TikTok I am Stop, Drop, and Knit. I think it's just Stop, Drop, and Knit. And I'm on Ravelry if you want to check out any of my projects. I'm not so great about updating it, but my Ravelry is LisaJack78. So that's where you can find me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I'm always glad to chat with you guys. And please, if you're watching, drop me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. It gets a little lonely when you post videos and then nobody leaves comments and you don't know if anybody's really watching. And so whenever you guys do leave a comment, I really appreciate that so much. So I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.